Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are. Welcome to today's Crypto Blast with myself and Cam from Institutional Fi, crypto with a tie on. As usual, Cam will be giving a rapid fire update of the latest crypto moving news, flows, pricing, etc., etc. Hopefully, with minimal mention of fart coin. But before he does, I'll get the legals out the way. So, as usual, nothing discussed on this Spaces session constitute trading or investment advice or infers any kind of endorsement by PIQ, Institutional Fi, myself, Ryan Paisley, or indeed that of the magnificent Cam O'Connor. Cam, how are you?
I'm okay, Ryan. How are you?
I'm all right. Space is a bit temperamental again. I do need to pull my finger out and work out how we're going to do this other than spaces because it's becoming very, very glitchy. But no, I'm good. I'm good.
It's always a fun challenge, isn't it, for your day?
Oh, don't mate, don't. It's becoming the bane of my life. But yeah, anyway, what's been going on in crypto, my dear friend?
Yeah, let's jump straight into it. So we'll cover the crypto market update first. Bitcoin reached $108,000, liquidating over $4 billion in leverage this morning. So heading into the start of the US session yesterday, we mentioned on the Crypto Blast that Bitcoin remained very constructive after continuing to make a series of higher highs and higher lows, and this setup didn't disappoint. In fact, covering over larger timeframes, Bitcoin only printed green candles through the US trading session.
Ooh.
So yesterday, a brilliant day for the bulls, and not so much if you're a bear. Um, since then, in the hours of this morning, BTC topped out at exactly $108,000, just 1% off of its shy off of its all-time high, liquidating, as we mentioned right at the top, a lot of sellers, over $4 billion. And I think that number, as far as all of the different platforms where they scrape for data, it was something like $6 billion. But that figure could
Ooh.
very well be greater than that. Yeah, so a lot of leverage was on the table, been wiped off. From that, we typically start to see some choppy price action, and BTC has come down and found some support around $106,000, continuing its structure as we mentioned with higher highs and higher
So
lows.
sorry. I'm assuming
Go
that
on.
these liquidated positions. I'm guessing they were shorts then that were stopping out along like up by the all time highs.
Yes.
Otherwise, why would yeah? Because you're not going to be getting longs being liquidated up there, right?
No,
Um,
no, not at all.
so one thing you'll be able to tell me more about this as well. So this is potentially bullish as well. If we're getting rid of some short positions, and hopefully they kind of roll it into long positions, obviously. But I did see someone. To be honest, it might have even been you. I apologise if it was mentioned that one of the most active options contracts on Deribit or wherever it was $300,000 calls. So that'd be a nice one if they start printing even remotely close to in the money.
Yeah, I remember that. That was for the end of June contracts.
That's
It
it.
was
Yeah.
$500 million in notional value. That as BTC climbed up, that notional value dropped quite significantly. I would imagine profits are being taken and contracts being
Yeah.
closed at that point.
Yeah.
We should actually check on that, and I'll do a post after to see what the value of
Good
those
man.
contracts is sitting at the moment. But yeah,
Nice.
not a terrible time for Bitcoin bulls at the moment. It's interesting to see how not very active the timeline is, considering Bitcoin is literally a couple percentage points away from its all-time high. This time a couple of years ago, if we're back in 2021, and when Bitcoin was at its all-time high, you couldn't get. I had to come off of X for a little while because
Yeah.
the
Right.
timeline was so bullish. I was like, hold on a minute, clouding my judgment here. But it doesn't seem that way. So you'll see, I'm seeing a lot of analysts, quite professional analysts, going, well, the fact that sentiment from retail isn't even really positive here, and Bitcoin is basically at all-time highs, means that we're going a lot higher. Obviously, that remains to be seen. But
That'd be
if
nice.
we, yeah, I know it would be very, very nice. If we look at the Bitcoin ETFs, the spot products coming out of the US, they pulled in around $329 million yesterday in net inflows. If we look across to Ethereum, yesterday morning UK time, all the way through to around 10 a.m. Eastern, ETH experienced a downtrend, like a very, very clear downtrend. However, there was a turning point at around $2,460 where some support was found. And from there, a very clear V-shaped recovery took place. In fact, if you are looking on whatever charts that you're using or platforms, if you turn on the 1 hour just to have a look at ETH, its price action, it was very, very clear, trended all the way up through the early hours of this morning in UK time, topped out exactly where BTC found its top this morning as well at 108K for Ethereum. It's just over $2,600. Ethereum ETFs also managed to rake in around $64 million in net inflows yesterday, with BlackRock acquiring over $45 million into their ETF products, ETH. Just note, obviously, this isn't BlackRock themselves, going in to buy Ethereum for themselves. This is on behalf of clients who are wanting to purchase
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
Ethereum.
It's still better than wanting to sell it, but yeah, it's good to make
So,
the distinction, which many people don't. Which is this isn't this isn't BlackRock or Vanguard or whoever you want to use on that whatever day, buying it themselves. This is customer money that they're investing because the customers want to buy it. They're just the like the shop window.
yeah, like you said, customers are wanting to buy it, so we're brilliant.
Yeah, I know.
Especially if
It's still good news. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, still
absolutely.
great news. Moving down the market cap list in no particular order, Solana trading at $169. Well, hey, XRP trading at $2.35, and BNB is trading at $655. Notice, if you're keen and active listener, this time 24 hours, there's only been a 1% move in those three altcoins. Glancing at some of the top performers over the last 24 hours, again, we have to stretch down the market cap. We can see that Stacks, with the ticker STX, is up over 7% over the last 24 hours. Now, Stacks is ranked at number 60 in market cap. Stacks is a Bitcoin layer for smart contracts. It enables smart contracts and decentralized applications, dApps, to use Bitcoin as an asset and settle transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain. So if Stacks can continue to gain momentum here, there's an argument that it's positive, net positive for Bitcoin miners. So maybe stay on the lookout there. If we're starting to see a lot of flows go through the Stacks ecosystem, as just mentioned, their transactions are settled on the Bitcoin blockchain, the layer one itself. So positive for Bitcoin miners. Jumping into the news that's happened over the last 24 hours, the SEC has postponed decisions on several ETF proposals tracking XRP and Dogecoin as it seeks additional public input to ensure compliance with fraud prevention and investor protection regulations. Specifically, the SEC has delayed rulings on the 21 shares core XRP trust, Grayscale's XRP trust, and the Grayscale Dogecoin Trust. I'm glad they didn't pass that one just yet. With a new review period extending beyond the original May 21st, 22nd deadlines, the agency is soliciting public comments within 21 days of federal registration publications and rebuttal submissions due within the next 35 days. Maybe I'll put in a rebuttal for a Dogecoin ETF. Anyway,
Yeah, exactly.
Bloomberg, it's better than a fart coin one anyway.
Yes, please.
Bloomberg ETF analyst James Seifert noted that such delays are routine, stating if we're going to see early approvals from the SEC on any of these assets, I wouldn't expect to see them until late June or early July at the earliest. More likely to be early Q4.
So chill your jets, cool your boots. It could be coming, but don't get upset if it's not straight away.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. If you're on X tweeting about a Dogecoin ETF, yeah, I'm gonna bet that you're probably not going to be the person buying that ETF.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Amsterdam-based Theta Capital Management has raised over 175 million US dollars for its Data Blockchain Ventures IV fund, aimed at supporting early-stage blockchain startups through specialized venture capital firms. This move aligns with a recovering crypto venture capital market, with Q1 2025 seeing around $6 billion in funding, despite fewer deals supposedly on the table. The US SEC charged New York-based cryptocurrency company Unicorn Incorporated come on, guys, get some serious names. And
Yeah,
three
please.
of their executives with defrauding over 5,000 investors of more than $100 million. The SEC alleges that from February 2022 onward, Unicorn misled investors through false claims about rights certificates tied to unicorn tokens and company. I can't say this seriously. Company stock promoted as secure, asset-backed investments. Key misrepresentations include claiming tokens were backed by billions in real estate and pre-IPO equity
Oh
when
God.
assets were worth a fraction of that, estimated to be no more than $300 million, with many deals undisclosed, stating the company raised $3 billion in certificate sales when actually they raised no more than $110 million, falsely advertising the tokens and certificates as SEC registered or US registered. The SEC also charged the Unicorn's general counsel, Richard Delvin, for negligently making similar misstatements in private placement documents. Delvin settled without admitting or denying the allegations, agreeing to a $37,000 fine and permanent injunctions. The compliment filed in the U.S. District Court for the Southern
So the
District of New
TLDR,
York. Yeah,
the
go on.
TLDR on this is that unicorn coin is just full of bullshit, which got color me shocked.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, with the name of like unicorn.
Yeah, come
Uh,
on. Can't, like you said, come on. Like, let's have some, like, let's try and get some serious names going, please, guys.
so what we can say at the end of this, however, is it's nice that we started seeing the SEC just overturn, cases left, right, and
I see where you're
centre
going
that
with
have been
this. Yeah.
happening over the last couple of years. But notice that they're not stopped pursuing cases. So if you are
Yes.
looking to endeavor in criminal activities in crypto, just know that the SEC haven't stopped. They
Yeah,
are
and
targeting, they're
this
making fresh
is
claims.
this is very much kind of what we were saying, yeah, yesterday, day before, whenever it was, when we were talking about Ripple. Even sorry, it might have been back in the last week when we are saying, look, the SEC are blatantly, they went down a very kind of unfortunate cul-de-sac with Ripple, where the guys probably doing the investigating didn't really understand what they were doing, and it was just a very long, drawn out process and courts and all that stuff. And the SEC are ballsed up, and yeah, where we got the the crypto-friendly administration with Trump. SEC have pulled back a lot, and they're pulling out of a lot of cases and stuff, which we were saying that potentially is a good thing, but they can't take their eye off the ball, which is the serious um negligence that goes on that and unfortunately is rife. And cases like this, I think it shows that potentially the SEC are striking the correct balance between going after those that are outright fraud, but also allowing like the ecosystem to grow naturally without too much regulation.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully going forward, we might see a little tightening up on those criminal activities or shady deals that we've been seeing
Well, and
with
rightly so, right?
influential figures launching meme coins and
We
stuff.
don't we don't want too much regulation because that does stifle growth, but at the same time you do need to go after the fraud.
Yeah, exactly that.
But yeah.
So some regulatory news, positive regulatory news. Hong Kong's Legislative Council passed the stablecoins ordinance today, establishing a licensing framework for fiat reference stablecoin issuers, overseen by the Hong Kong Monetary Authority. Key requirements include maintaining high quality liquid reserve assets equal to the circulating stablecoin value, robust redemption mechanisms, and compliance with anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing standards. Issuers must be Hong Kong companies or authorized institutions incorporated outside of Hong Kong with a minimum paid-up capital of $25 million. So yeah, there's some nice complementary regulatory
Yeah.
framework coming into Hong Kong. They said that they'll maintain a public register of licenses issuers and has powers to enforce compliance, including sanctions and investigations. The ordinance set to take effect later this year aims to protect customers as they all are in
Yeah.
regulated to do. So yeah, that's going to be some of the key stories. Just a few other headlines from myself. Actually, interesting to note, BlackRock's Bitcoin Trust, their IBIT, with the ticker IBIT, becomes the fifth ranked ETF based on year-to-date flows. And just a month ago, it was ranked number 47th. So seen a massive cash injection with over 8 billion. It was actually $8.8 billion brought in so far this year. So definitely in high demand. Swiss crypto pioneer Bitcoin Sussy secures regulatory approval in Abu Dhabi. And we did the Hong Kong one already. Brilliant. I think, South Korea introduces new guidelines for non-profit crypto sales as the country prepares for institutional entry. And also yesterday we saw a bill passed in Australia, maybe a couple of days ago now, with they're going to tax unrealized capital gains. With again, to me it sounds incredibly stupid, but there was rumors that there's potentially about to pass a bill which would exclude Bitcoin from the crypto gains, unrealized, taxing, un. My
Go
words are
on, use
getting
your words. Use your
absolutely,
words.
absolutely confused, left, right, center. Yeah, I've lost it for sure now. Oh
Okay,
dear.
no worries, no worries. What is that? Is that you wrapping up?
That's going to be me wrapping up. I clearly need to go for another coffee,
Yeah, I think
and maybe
so.
a
Well,
lie
look,
down.
regardless of that ending, I think it was a great update. Thank you very much, Cam. Listeners, thank you as always for tuning in. Yeah, and tune in for more tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.
Catch you guys later.